So let's continue from where we stopped last module, trying to determine the power consumed by individual resistors in a series configuration. As we determined last time out that the total voltage in a circuit where you have all your resistors connected in series is just the summation of the individual voltages across each of the resistors. So let's go to power. Now the power across resistor R2 is P2 equals to I2 multiplied by V2. So we've just copied and pasted the values of our I2, I3 and I4 from previous calculations. So you can see here that I2 is 0.00286 amps or amperes multiplied by V2. So we need to go and grab V2 from our previous calculations. We have V2, V3, V4. We've obtained that before, so you can just grab it from here, copy and paste. So let's grab this, drag this down a bit, and let's take this back up. So we are trying to determine the power consumed by each individual resistor in a series arrangement. So we have I2, now we need V2. So V2 is 1.43 volts. That's V2. The voltage across resistor R2, that's V2. So if you multiply this together, use our calculator, 0.00286 multiplied by 1.43, that gives us 0.00409 watts. That's the power consumed by the resistor R2. 0.0041, can make it 41 or 409 watts, which is that will be 4.1 milliwatts. The milli is small m and the watt is capital W. So let's obtain the power consumed by R3, that is P3. So let's go for P3. So P3 is the power consumed by the resistor R3. And conversely, just as we did for P2, P3 will be I3 multiplied by V3. I3 multiplied by V3. P3 is I3 multiplied by V3. So 0.00286 amperes. Like we said, that the current through all the resistors in series, they are equal, it's the same current, but the voltages differ. So here to be 2.86. 2.86 is the voltage across R3, which is V3. So if you multiply that, we have a calculator, 0.00286 multiplied by 2.86, that gives us 0.0082 watts. 0.0082 watts. 0.00882 watts, capital W, which is same thing as if you move the zeros, you move the floating point 3 times to the right, that's 8.2 milliwatts. 8.2 milliwatts. The milli small m, the W capital W. So let's go for P4. That's the power consumed by the resistor R4. P4. So conversely, it is I4 multiplied by V4. I4 multiplied by V4. I4 is the same as I2, same as I3, same as I total, which is 0.00286, because the current flowing through all the resistors in series is the same, but the voltage is different. V4 is different. V4 is 5.72 volts. So you multiply the voltage of the voltage V4 by the current I4. The voltage is unique to each resistor, but the current is constant across constant through all of the resistors in series. We multiply that will be 0.0164 watts. 0.0164 watts, which is equal to, if you move the floating point, the dot to the right 3 times, that will give us 16.4. That should be like 16.4 milliwatts. Remember that milli is times 10 to the power minus 3, so that will be 16.4 milliwatts. 16.4 milliwatts. 16.4 milliwatts. So that's that about that. So we've obtained the power consumed by each of the loads or the resistors in series: P1, P2, P3, P4. We did start from P1 because we numbered our resistors R2. We started from R2. We could have started from R1, but for aesthetic reasons, I just decided to start with R2. So R2, R3, R4. We have our 3 resistors. So the power consumed by them will be P2, P3, P4 accordingly. So let's go total power. Total power, which is PT. Now the total power consumed by individual loads or resistors in a series or parallel configuration. In a series or parallel configuration by all resistors, in a series or parallel configuration or arrangements. So what I'm trying to the point I want to make here is that the total power in any electronic circuit is just the addition of all power consumed. So it is the addition of the power or the individual power consumed by all the resistors. So it doesn't matter whether you connect the resistors in series or in parallel. When it comes to calculating total power, just add all the powers, individual power consumed together. Unlike when we had series and parallel, where that determine the total resistance in series, you add it together. If it's in parallel, to be 1 over RT, like that. But in for determining total power, there's no discrimination whether it is series or parallel. You add all the individual powers together in order to get your total power. So total power will be P2 plus P3 plus P4, or you can get total power by multiplying total current by total voltage. So PT is IT times VT. You can either use this, or you can remember we said before, stated that IT is I1, is I2, it's the same as I3 for series, for resistors connected in series. So accordingly, IT will be 0.00286 amps, which is the same thing as I2, the same thing as I3, because the same current flows through all resistors connected in series. So now the VT is the total voltage. VT, remember our VT is 10 volts. Is the voltage supplied to the circuit, the battery source, the voltage source, the DC voltage source. So that's 10 volts. So we'll make it 10.0 watts, approximately 10 volts. Let's just make it of 10 volts. So this 10 volts is this battery, this 10 volts here from the battery. So 10 volts multiplied by that, and the current is 2.86 milliamps. Total current is 2.86 milliamps. It's the same current that flows through all the resistors. We've stated that many times before. If you multiply this out, it should be 0.0286 watts. From right, 0.0286 watts, capital W, which is the same thing as you shift the point 3 times to the right, you should get 28.6 milliwatts, small m, capital W. Remember that milli is times 10 to the power minus 3. So we've obtained total power consumed by all the resistors or all the loads in the circuit by multiplying total current by total voltage. Another way to do it is to add all the individual powers, all the power consumed by individual loads, all the power consumed by all the individual resistors, which starts from P2 and P3 and P4. So if you add all those together, you get the total power consumed by the circuit, by all the loads in the circuit. So I will stated that regardless of whether the resistors were connected in series or parallel, when it comes to finding total power, you add all the power consumed together, regardless of whether it is series or parallel. So in this case, it's series, just add it together. 4.1 milliwatts for P2, 8.2 milliwatts for P3, 16.4 milliwatts for P4. So I'll add them together. That's 4.1 plus 8.2 milliwatts plus 16.4 milliwatts, which is 28.7 milliwatts. So the total power consumed by all the loads in the circuit is 28.7 milliwatts, which was obtained or derived by adding all the individual powers consumed by the individual loads. By adding them together, we got 28.7 milliwatts. Now remember that when we calculated PT using IT times VT up here, was 28.6 milliwatts. So there should not be too much this difference. It should be basically approximately the same thing. If you add all the individual powers together to get a total power, it should be almost the same thing as if you use IT times VT. Remember that it's just an alternative approach to getting the same thing. So PT should be constant, should be around the same value, regardless of whether you use IT times VT or you had all the individual power consumed in the circuit, you add them together. So here that 28.6 and 28.7 milliwatts, they are not too far from each other. So I hope you are able to grasp that concept, the concept of obtaining the power consumed by individual loads in a circuit connected where you have resistors connected in series. So determining the equivalent resistance in a series parallel combination. So combination resistor circuit. Now we are about to, this will probably be the last major concept we would examine in this module series. This is module 4, and I initially planned for that with just 4 modules, so this hopefully will be the last module, except if the school make an adjustment to that, but this should be the last. So this is the last major concept that we'll be considering, the last major concept. There are some minor concepts I'll speak on about later, but the last major concept for now, for this online lecture series. We want to determine, now we started by treating resistors in parallel, analyzing it, how do you get the voltage, the current, the power of individual resistors. After that we switched to series. Now we want to do, what it's not possible, or shouldn't it be possible to combine series and parallel connections of resistors? So that's what we want to do now. So we want to examine how to get equivalent resistance or total resistance of a circuit if resistors are connected in both series and in parallel. So, and there was no way we could have examined this concept if we had not thoroughly examined resistors in series separately and resistors in parallel separately. So let's go. Now that we are in of course, we mix of live wire virtual laboratory again. Let's show this resistor to the left, a bit up. So this we'll probably have to do a slightly complex circuit, not too complex, but let's see where it goes. So I implore you to pay close attention at this point, because if you don't really understand it, if you are struggling with the concepts of series resistors or series resistance and parallel resistance separately, you might struggle at this stage. So we are connecting R2 and R3 in parallel. As usual, I told you, just connect the corresponding terminals to each other. Terminal 1 to terminal 1 of terminal 1 of R2 to terminal 1 of R3, terminal 2 of R2 to terminal 2 of R3. So just like that, just connect them one-to-one mapping kind of. So let's copy and paste. So we have two resistors in parallel, R2 and R3 in parallel. Both of them together are in series with let's call this R4. Okay, there's a duplicate. There's already an R4 somewhere. So let's change R4 to we'll change R4 to something else. Let's bring it closer first of all. Let's connect this end to this end. So for now, this R1 and R4, they are in series for now. I might change that. I might change the configuration, but for now they're in series. So what we have here is that R2 and R3 are in parallel. Both of them together in series with R1, and R1 is in series with R4, which I just changed to R5. Now R1, I'm going to change to R4 now. R4. So R4 and R5, they are in series now. Both of them together are in series with R2, R3 parallel. So R2 and R3 they are in parallel. If you combine them together, they are in series with R4 and R5. But I'm about to change that. I'm about to change that relationship now. Once I add this resistor, this no longer be the case, and this resistor so this is R1. Let me change it from R1 to probably R6. Yes, R6 will do. So R5 and R6. Okay. Oh, this R6 cancel. Let me change it to R7. Up. Okay. So I change this to R6, double click. Up. And I'm going to R6. Okay. So now terminal 2 to terminal 1, then like that, like so. So R6 and R7 are in series. Both of them together are in parallel with R5. So now R4 and R5 are no longer in series because something else has been connected across them. I hope you get that concept now. R4 is no longer in series with R5 on its own. R4 is in series with R5 parallel R6, R7. When we are resolving this, you understand better. So R6 and R7 are in series. R6 and R7 are in series because terminal 2 of R6 is connected to terminal 1 of R7. Terminal 2 of R6 is connected to terminal 1 of R7. So both of them are in series. Now together, R6 and R7 together in series, they are in parallel with R5. R2 is in parallel with R3. Yes. So 1000 ohms, 1000. So R2, R3, they are in parallel. Both of them are 1000 ohms. R4 is 500 ohms. R5 is let me make it 1000 ohms. So R5 is 1000 ohms. R6 let me make it probably 500 ohms. 500 ohms R6. R7, double click, 500 ohms also. 500 ohms. Okay. So R6, R7, they are in series. Both of them together are in parallel with R5. Now R4 is in series with R2, R3 together in parallel. R2, R3 together, they are in parallel. As a unit like that, they are in series with R4. R4 is in series with R5, R6, R7 as a unit, not R5 alone. R4 is no longer in series with R5 alone because R5 has now been attached in parallel with R6, R7. As we resolve as we try to determine the total resistance of this circuit, you will understand what I mean better. So we want to determine the total resistance or the equivalent resistance of this circuit. We want to determine the equivalent resistance of this circuit. So we will start gradually. Now I want to start from R2 and R3. R2 is in parallel with R3. Now when you want to find total resistance of a circuit, you do it gradually. If this circuit were only full of parallel resistors, you just do it once. If it was only full of series resistors, we just do it once. But since it's a combination, we have to treat parallel separate, you treat series separate. So let's take care of all the parallel resistors. So now, if R2 and R3, since they are in parallel, we can call the equivalent resistance of just those two R2, 3. R23. So R23 is the total resistance of R2 and R3 alone in parallel. So 1 over R23 will be equals to 1 over R2 plus 1 over R3. 1 over R2 plus, insert text, equal to equal to, copy paste, plus so R23 equal to 1 over R2 plus 1 over R3, rather 1 over R23, rather 1 over R23 equal to 1 over R2 plus 1 over R3. So 1 over R, so R23 is now will be the equivalent or the total resistance of R2 and R3. So R2 and R3 in parallel as a unit, we want to resolve just that alone. So that will be equal to, let's substitute the values for R2 and R3. Let's see. R2 is 1000 ohms. Let's delete that, 1000 ohms. And then R3, let's shift this. We can shift this a bit, or probably just copy and paste, duplicate it. R3 is also 1000 ohms. So let's delete R3, replace it by 1 over 1000. Let's shift the plus sign to the right a bit. Okay, shift it a bit to the right. I think it's okay like that. Okay, so 1 over R2 plus 1 over R3 same as 1 over 1000 plus 1 over 1000. Since R2 and R3 are both 1000 ohms, so if you had 1 over 1000 plus 1 over 1000, you should get 2 over 1000. That's simple as here. You should not struggle with that. That's 2 over 1000. So it means that R23. Now remember that if 1 over R23 is 2 over 1000, then it means the original R23 will just be, when we flip, we are going to flip 2 over 1000, just turn it upside down. That'll be 1000 divided by 2, which is equal to 500 ohms. So we are not, what we are looking for is not 1 over R23, it's actually R23. So whatever answer you get for 1 over R23, you're going to invert the answer so that you will get actual R23, not 1 over R23. It is called reciprocal. So I hope that should not be a strange terminology to you. So R23 is 500 ohms. So that means if we resolve R2 and R3 in parallel, both of them in parallel, resolve it, it gives us 500. That means that R2 and R3 can easily be replaced by a single resistor of 500 ohms. We did this many times, or with several examples last module. So this should not be a strange concept to you, that R2 and R3 can be replaced by a single resistor of 500 ohms. So let's delete that. Click on this, drag it, bring it down a bit. So it's a single resistor now. It used to be 2 resistors in parallel, but we've resolved it. We found the total resistance of the the 2 resistors in parallel. The total resistance of these 2 resistors in parallel is now 500 ohms, and now 500 ohms just one single resistor. So R23, let's say R23. So R23 is now, let's change that value to 500. Okay, so R23 is now 500 ohms. So these 2 resistors in parallel, R2 and R3, they've been replaced by one single resistor called R23 500 ohms. So R23 500 ohms is basically the result of having 2 resistors R2 and R3 in parallel. Both of them are 1000 ohms, 1000 ohms. They were in parallel, R23, they were in parallel. It was R2 and R3. R2 was 1000 ohms, R3 was 1000 ohms. Both of them in parallel gives us an equivalent resistance R23 of 500 ohms. So we replace the 2 resistors that are in parallel with a single resistance, which is the equivalent resistance of 2 of them that were parallel before. We replace it with a single resistance R23, which is 500 ohms. So I've copied and pasted both circuits side by side to see that it's actually the same thing. There's no difference between these two. We're replacing the two resistors in parallel with one single one in. We've not changed the circuit. We've not changed the value of the circuit. We've not changed the power consumed by the circuit. It's still basically the same thing. We proved that with many experiments last module. So it should not be a strange concept to you. Let's delete that, replace it. So R23. So let's get our arrow. Let's get an arrow to point from left to right, left to right. So what I'm trying to illustrate here is that the circuit on the left in the PowerPoint window, not in the live wire, the circuit to the left is the same thing as the circuit to the right. We changed the two resistors that are in parallel. We changed them to one single equivalent resistance. That's just the difference. So R2 and R3 were in parallel. We found their total resistance, which was R23, and we replaced it. So we've simplified the circuit a bit that way. So let's go now to these two. These two are in series. R6 and R7 are in series. So we can combine R6 and R7 too. R6 and R7. We can combine it together. Just when we combine those two resistors in parallel, we can combine R6 and R7 together. Now remember the series rule. R6, R7. So let's call it R67. So R67 will be the total resistance of R6 and R7. So we call it R67. It's just nomenclature, just name it. You can call it whatever you want. So remember, series resistors, the resistance are added literally together. So R67 will be R6 plus R7 because they're in series. They're in series. It's only for you to do any 1 over R6 or 1 over R7. The series, just add them straight together, and they're both of them are 500 ohms each. So 500 ohms for R6 plus 500 ohms for R7. Add it together, pretty straightforward. That should give us 1000 ohms. So that's 1000. So R67 is 1000 ohms. So these two resistors that are in series, 500 ohms each, I can replace it with one single resistor, which is R67, whose value is 1000 ohms. So we can still simplify this circuit further. So let's we delete the center one, delete one of them, delete, drag this one downwards a bit, drag it upward to align, connect, complete the circuit, double click. So this is R67. R67 is now 1000 ohms. Okay. So we have simplified the circuit. These two resistors in series have now been replaced by a single resistor R67, which is the total resistance of those two resistors in series. So we found the equivalent resistance of the two resistors that were in series, which is R67, and its value, or the resistance value, is 1000 ohms. So that you can't say that the circuit is simpler now. It's simpler from the initial circuit, but it's exactly the same circuit. The same power consumed by this new circuit is the same power that will be consumed by the original circuit. It's the same thing. We've not changed anything, we've just simplified it. So we can still simplify this further. This circuit here, the two resistors in parallel, we use this formula to simplify it initially, and then after we took care of the parallel resistors, we went to the series resistor, we took care of that. So we can still simplify it further. You can simplify it further. Let's copy this. I'll copy this because we still need it again, and paste. Now R5 and R67, they're in parallel. You see that these two resistors are in parallel. R5 and R5 and R67 are in parallel. So their total resistance will be probably R567. Let's call it R5. So R5 and R67 here, they're in parallel. So we want to find our total resistance, R5 and so this will be 1 over R5 plus 1 over R67. R67. So R67 was what we got initially, when we got after adding the two series resistors together in series. So these two are in parallel now. R5 is a separate resistor. Then R5 is 1000 ohms. R67 is 1000. So the result will still be the same. Basically, it will still be 1 over 1000 plus 1 over 1000 because R5 is 1000 ohms and R67 is 1000 ohms. So let's go next. In the next place, you have the next line. R567, of course, is just reciprocal of that, and that will be 1000 divided by 2, which is 500 ohms. So we can replace those two in parallel with one single resistor, that is R567. So R567 is 500 ohms. R567 is 500 ohms. It's 500 ohms. So now this circuit is quite so simple. We've simplified it to another. We've taken it another level in type of simplification. So is this circuit not a lot simpler? It's a lot simpler than the initial one that we had. A lot simpler. We have 3 resistors in series now. R23 in series with R4 in series with R567. So we've simplified this circuit as much as you possibly could, but we can still take it one level further. We can take it one level further in terms of simplification. So all 3 are in series. R23 is in series with R4, is in series with R67. So they are all in series, and we obtained R567 was obtained by simplifying R5, R6, and R7. So R567 is the total resistance of R5, R6, and R7, while R23 is the total resistance of just R2 and R3. So we can find the last one, that will be R2 to 7. That's basically all the resistances. R2, this is R23, this is R4, this is R567. So if you had all 3 together, total resistance of all 3 resistors in series, it will be R2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But let's just put R2-7. That's stating that we are getting the total resistance from R2 to R7, R2-7, R2-7, or we can call it RT. So RT will be R23 plus R4 plus R567, because all 3 resistors are, or all 3 resistances are in series. They are in series, that's why we have them as such. So 500 ohms plus 500 ohms plus 500 ohms. So like we said, R27 is the total resistance from R23 plus R4 plus R567. So 3 resistors in series connected together. We added the 3 of them together, each of them are 500 ohms. That gives us a total of 1500 ohms. So this will mean that the equivalent resistance of the entire circuit will be 1500 ohms. So we can replace these last 3 resistors that are in series with just one resistor whose value is you can call it R27 or R27, 1500 ohms. 1500 ohms. So this is the total resistance of the entire circuit, composed of both resistors in parallel and resistors in series, from R2 to R3, R4, R5, R6, R7, all of them from R2 to R7. Everything can be, all those resistors are represented by just one resistor whose value is 1500 ohms basically. So that's what we have here. That's why I deleted the other resistors. Just one resistor, 1500 ohms value. And there are 2 ways you could represent this basically. You can either just connect it as I've done to the left, or this other configuration to the right. Like I said, the orientation of the resistor doesn't matter, whether it is vertical or horizontal doesn't matter. This, as long as the right terminals are connected. You see here that the first terminal of the resistor is connected to the positive, and the second terminal is connected to the negative of the battery. So for both the circuits on the left and this one on the right, both of them, they are the same thing. The 2 circuits are the same thing. Both of them, we have R27 connected to the 10 volts voltage source, 10 volt DC voltage source. When we simulated just now, we saw that the values are exactly the same thing, 10 volts, and the current is exactly the same thing. So the orientation doesn't matter, just that we replace the entire circuit that we have below. This circuit below has been replaced by the circuit above. So the total resistance, or the equivalent resistance of all the resistors we had below here, are replaced by just a single resistor, R27. R27 replaces all the resistors from R2 to R3 to R4 to R5 to R6 to R7. So that's the total resistance of the whole thing. The total resistance of the entire thing is R27. So now let's check the current. Let's measure the current flowing through that, and current flowing through. You can easily get that. This current flowing through the resistor R27 will be the same thing as the current that is flowing through the entire circuit. So let's bring it here. So Times New Roman. Let's change the font size to font type rather. IT. You can get the total current now. Remember, total current, as we've done before, is V over R, but the V is VT, total voltage divided by total resistance. So total current IT equal to total voltage VT divided by total resistance RT. We've used this formula a couple of times thus far in this module series, on this lecture series. So it should not be in Newton at this level. So IT equal to VT over RT. So VT is 10 volts. Total voltage is 10 volts. 10 divided by RT. Total resistance is 1,500, which is R27. R227. This what we got here. We've derived the total resistance here by adding those individual resistors that were in parallel and in series, and we got 1,500. So 1,010 volts divided by 1,500 ohms. So whatever answer you get will determine the current. Let's bring out a calculator and say 10 divided by 1,500. That gives us 0.0067 amperes, capital A. 0.0067 or 0.00667, whichever one you prefer. 0.00667 amperes, capital A. So this is the total current that flows through the entire circuit. We got that by first of all resolving or getting the total resistance. We got the total resistance of the entire circuit. After getting the total resistance, we divided the total voltage by that total resistance in order to get the total current. So we have the total current now. So we are done with that first stage. We first of all determine the total resistance of the circuit. We use the total resistance or the equivalent resistance. We used it to get the total current. Now we can now determine the voltage or the voltages across individual resistors in this particular series parallel. So that is a combination of series and parallel resistor connections or configurations. So you can determine the voltages across individual resistors in a series parallel combination, so or configuration. So you combine series resistors, combine parallel resistors, as we've done. You can determine the individual voltages. So that's what we want to do next now. So we have total current. Now when we simulate it, we see that's a 6.67, if I'm right, 6.67 milliamps. To your left there, after simulating in the live wire window, we have that's 6.67. Yeah, 6.67 milliamps. So that matches our calculation. So 6.67 is the current that is flowing through that resistor according to live wire simulation, and via our calculation we also verify that, which is a good thing. So we can delete that now. We are done with that. So let's go back to the original circuit. This is the original circuit. We abandoned it for a while when we are simplifying the resistor configuration. So let's take it back now. So this R2, R3 here, this should be R4. Double click. We want to make it R4. We want to return back to our original labeling. Okay, there's already an R4 here, so let's make this on R9 arbitrary. Okay, there's still R9. How about R99? Arbitrarily, we change that later. So we have R2, R3, R2 and R3. Correct labeling. This should be R4. Okay. R5. we don't have R5 anywhere else. Okay, let's make a R5. Okay, then R6 and R7. Okay, that's complete. That's our, so we have our original circuit back with the correct labelings, the correct resistor values. So we want to now obtain the individual voltage, the voltages across the individual resistors. So we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 resistors here. So we want to get 6 voltage values for each of these resistors, and some of them are in parallel, some of them are in series. So we cannot just use just one formula, one rule to obtain the individual voltages for all these resistors. You have to use a bit of combination. You have to combine the rules that we've learned thus far. So let's continue. So we are determining the voltages across each of the resistors in this series parallel combination of series resistors, series resistor connections and configuration, and parallel. So now to determine these voltages, we also need the current through the individual resistors in order for us to apply Ohm's law. Remember that Ohm's law is V equal to IR, so that means the voltage equal to the product of the current and the resistances. So we have the resistances of the individual resistors, but we don't have the current. So we need the current. We need the current through each individual resistors in order to determine the voltages across them. We need the current. So now current, when the current flows here, when the current gets to this junction, it parts. When it gets to various junctions, it parts ways. It's like water. It's like a channel of water getting to an intersection. The channel of water will split. It will split in some direction, split in all the possible junctions, or all the possible paths, as determined. All the paths that meet in that junction, the current or the channel of water will flow. So that's how current works too. So if you remember that total current that flow through the circuit will determine, when we resolved, we turned this to R2. We said this was R23. We called this R23, and R23 was 500 ohms. We said this is R4. Let's make this one R44 for now. Just so that we can call this one R4. We'll change it later. R4 was 500 ohms too, and this was R567, 500 ohms, if I'm right. 567, yeah. So we are taking a little step back. Now when we go to this level, when we go to this stage, we had 3 resistors in series. Basically we had the 3 resistors in series. Now at this level, we can still go back. At this level, you know, here, when we got here, we will turn these 3 resistors into one resistor, but we will not do that. We are going to actually, at this level, we are going to get their voltages now. Instead of converting these 3 series resistors to one single resistor, which was R27, we won't do that. We will actually now start resolving the voltages and the currents that flows through them, and the current that flows through them, and the voltages that appear across them correspondingly or respectively. So if you connect an ammeter through them, of course the current will be 6.67 milliamps. We've determined that before. That's nothing new. That's the total current through the circuit. That's 6.67 milliamps. We've determined that already. That's not special. Now we now need to determine the voltages across them. But remember that to determine voltage across, we need the current that flows through the resistors. So now recall that we want to take advantage of that hypothesis we proved earlier, that the current flowing through resistors in series is the same, is constant. So at this level, R23, R4 and R567, they have the same current flowing through them, which is 6.6 milliamps. So this 6.67 milliamperes, this current, is the same current that is flowing through R23, is the same current that is flowing through R4, is the same current that is flowing through R567. So we can easily determine the voltages across these individual these 3 resistors since we know that the same current is flowing through them and we have that value. So now V23, well, you can get V23. V23 is the voltage across R23 resistor. So V23 equal to IT. Remember, IT is total current and it's flowing through, is the same current that's flowing through all the three resistors. So IT multiplied by R23. So IT is 0.0067 amps, which is 6.67 milliamperes, multiplied by R23. R23 is 500 ohms. So we can get the voltage across the resistor R23 on its own. So if you multiply this 0.0067 multiplied by 500 ohms, that should give us 3.33 or 3.34 volts. 3.33 or 3.34. Actually, it's supposed to be 3.333 volts. It's because of approximation. That's the issue here when you approximate too closely. If you approximate too closely, you probably have some slight errors down the line. You start having, the more you approximate, the farther your final value will be from what it's meant to be. So yeah, but all the same, it's still good. 10 divided by 1.5. I thought, okay, let me go back. So this is 0.006666. Without approximating, let's multiply by 500. Good, this is what we need. It's supposed to be 3.333. The 5 is not meant. If we got the 5 because we approximated. So if you multiply it without approximating, you get 3.33, which is the actual thing. This is what it's meant to be. 3.33. The 5 should not be there. It's because of, it's an error of approximation, which if you approximate and get, it's not far from the answer. Sometimes you don't have to get the actual thing, but it shouldn't be too far from the answer. So now let's go for the next one. It's V4. Now we've determined the voltage across R23. Let's go for the next one, which is the voltage across R4. The voltage across R4 will be IT times R4. Remember that IT is total current. It's the same current that is flowing through all three resistors, so it's still the same current. So IT, the same current, total current, multiplied by R4. And remember that R4 is also 500, so we get the same value since R4 is also 500 ohms. Let's go for the last one. This is V567. Will now be IT multiplied by R567. So this is the voltage across resistor R567. It also has the same value of 500 volts, so that the voltage will also be the same. It will also be 3.3 volts. So V23, V4, and V567, they all have the same voltages because they all have the same resistances. So let's determine this by calculation. We can also prove it by running experiments. So let's go to we're in level environment right now. Rotate, drag it a bit, rotate, and connect, click, escape, click, connect, one more, click, connect, okay. Yeah, click, connect, click, this wire is misbehaving. Okay, connect, click, connect, and simulate. Now this is 3.3 volt, 3.3 volt, and 3.3 volt. So our voltage calculations are right according to as proven by the virtual experiment. So the voltage across R4 is right, and that of the voltage across R23 is also right. So let's call this one R444, so that we can return this. We want to go back to this guy. Let's return this to R4 now. So R4. So I want to make use of this. Now the circuit on top. Just go back here now. Now the voltage across these two resistors, R2 and R3, the voltage across them is V23. Remember that it was when we resolved R2 and R3, when we resolved them, when we found their total resistance, that was when we got R23 as a single resistor. I remember that the voltage across resistors in parallel is the same. So that means that the same voltage is across R2 and R3, which is V23. So you will understand better. Let's see if we can copy this and bring it into our slide. Paste. Let's drag it a bit, adjust, insert, symbols, arrow. So I'm going to now drawing some current line. Now current comes out from the positive of the battery. The direction is flowing out, that's a direction, positive direction is flowing outward, and then when it gets to this branch, this intersection, part of it goes up in that direction, another part goes down in this direction. Click and drag. So part of it goes up, the other part goes down when it gets that direction, when it gets that intersection rather. Now when it gets this other intersection, it comes down. The one that had gone up before passes through the resistor, then comes down. The other one that passes through R3 goes up. So they both combine again. The current combine again at this new junction. They combine at this junction to form the original current. The original current that splitted up will now be formed again when the currents meet up. It's like a channel of water that is meeting up after diverging before. When it gets to this intersection, part of it comes down this way, part of the current flows down through that resistor R5, and then the rest continues going forward. And when it gets to that curve, all the current there goes down. It follows that curve and goes down, flows downwards through R6 and R7, flows downward through R6 and R7. So let me label it. This is IT, total current, IT. Let me change the font type to Times New Roman. Times New Roman. So that's IT. So total current is what comes out from the battery, the positive terminal of the battery. Current goes from positive terminal of the battery to the negative, so it comes out of a positive terminal as IT. Now when it gets to this branch, it divides into two. The one that goes upward into RT is called I2, since it's R2. The one that I2 flows through R2, and then the one that goes down and flows to R3 is I3. Delete RT2 and make it 3. So this is I3. So I3 flows through R3. So let's copy and duplicate here. So this one, the one down here, is the same R3. After R3 has flown through R3, it comes at the other side. Same with this one. This is I2. After it has flown through the resistor, it comes out. So I2 and I3, they meet up again and they combine in order to form IT, total current. Remember, it was IT that splitted up initially to form I2 and I3. When I2 and I3 combine again, they become I2 once again. Sorry, they become IT. They become total current once again. Now total current, now IT now splits into I5. I5 split comes out from IT, and the remaining is now I67. I67. So I67 is what now flows here. When it gets to that branch, the whole of I67 will take a detour and go down and flow through I67. So basically, current flows like water through a pipe. When it gets here, IT splits up initially, flows in two parallel directions as I2 and I3. Then they meet up again and they form IT, total current once. So total current before and after the parallel junctions is the same. Before it split up, it was IT. After they meet up again, it becomes IT. At the second junction, it splits up into I5 and I67. So I67 flows through resistor R6 and R7, while I5 flows through resistor R5. So let's draw another arrow here to show that I67, the current I67 flows down here, and at this point I5 still continues here. So let's copy and paste. This is I5. I5 still flows down till it gets to this new junction. I67 still follows this trajectory until it gets here. So we are at another junction now, at another T junction. Now I5 and I67 will combine together. When they combine together, they will form IT again. Remember that IT was what splitted initially to form I5 and I67. When I5 and I67, when they join together once again, they will return back and form IT once again. So total current was what split up to form I5 and I67. Now I5 and I67 will join back again to form the original IT, total current. So total current IT initially splitted up to form I2 and I3. I2 and I3 join together to form IT, total current once again. Total current splitted up to form I5 and I67. Now they've joined back together to form total current. And total current will now flow in this direction till it goes into the negative of the battery. It will return back to the battery that it came out from the battery in the first place. After going through the whole circuit, it will go back inside the battery. So current flows from the positive terminal of a battery to the negative terminal of the battery. It flows from the positive terminal of the battery, passes through all the resistors that are in the circuit. Then everything, all the currents meet up back again, and then return back into the negative terminal of the battery. So that's the complete cycle. So let's go. Now the voltage across R2 is V23. Remember that we got V23 by determining the voltage across R23. This is V23. So V23 is the voltage across both R2 and R3. Remember that the voltage across resistors in parallel are the same. So we got V23 from R23, which is R2 and R3 in parallel. So V23 is the same voltage across R2 and R3 because both of them are in parallel. And voltages across resistors in parallel are the same. So V23 is across R2, is the same voltage across R3. So what about the voltage across R4? It's called V4. The voltage across R4 is V4. And we found that earlier. We discovered what R4 is. V4. We've obtained V4 already. We've obtained V4, which is that's V4 there. Now the next one is V567. Now V567 was obtained by determining the voltage across R5, R6 as a unit. We converted R5, R6 and R7 to one single resistor. So that resistor, the voltage across that single resistor was V567. So the voltage across this whole thing, that side across this entire side will be V567. I'll do that. I'll make a drawing like an arrow. Now from here to here, this is a double-sided arrow. This entire wing from the top of this arrow to the bottom of this arrow is V567. So V567 is the voltage across resistor R5 and resistor R6 and R7 together in series. So V567 is this voltage across those three. The voltage across those three resistors is V567. So we use V2 for 3, V4 and V567. We've introduced them into our circuit now. So let's start by getting I2. What is I2? So I remember that current according to Ohm's law is V over R. That's V23. Remember, it will be V23 divided by R2. V23 divided by R2. So I2 is V23 divided by R2. And V23 is 3.33. So that means I2 will be V23, which is 3.33 volts, divided by 1000. So see here that I2 will be V23 over R2 as shown. V23 is 3.33, R2 is 1000 ohms, and that gives us 3.33 milliamperes. So that is I2. Next, let's go for I3. Let's drag this a bit, align it, and I3. So I3 is V23 divided by R3. Now it is still V23 because it's the same voltage that was across R2 that is across R3. R2 and R3 are in parallel, so it's the same voltage. So V23 is across both I2, R2 and R3. R2 and R3 have the same voltage because they are in parallel, and that voltage is V23. So the current will be the same. Now let's go for I4, I5, I6. So copy, paste, drag, align, erase. I4 equal to IT equal to, now I4 is IT. If you look at that, the current flowing through R4 is IT, so I4 is automatically IT, and IT is 0.0067 amps. We've done that before, which is 6.66 milliamps. So IT equal to 6.67 milliamps. We've determined that before. So I4 is basically IT. The current flowing through R4 is which is I4, which is IT already. It is IT, so I4 equals to IT, so which is 0.07 0.0, or rather 6.67 milliamps. So we've duplicated the slide. This is a new slide. I5, we want to get I5 here now. Now remember that I5, we got I5 by subtracting IT. We got it from IT. I5 is a subset of, it's just a little part of IT. Now we can get I5 by dividing the voltage across. Now the voltage across I5 is V567. So V567 divided by R5 will give us I5. So let's go back. V567 is 3.33 volts. So you click inside here, 3.33 volts V divided by R5 is 1000 ohms. That's 1000 ohms here. So V567 is across R5, because R5 is in parallel with R67 together in series. So that's 3.33 divided by 1000 ohms, which is equal to, we need a calculator for that, but there's no calculator for that. That would be 0.0033 amps, which is about 3.33 milliamperes. So this is the current that's flowing through R5. So we got the current flowing through R5 once again by dividing the voltage across R5, resistor R5. That voltage is V567. Now V567 is across R5 as a single unit. It's also across R6 and R7 together in series. So R67 together in series is in parallel with R5, so they have the same voltage, which is V567. Now let's go for R6. Now R67 came out of IT, so IT equal to I5, or rather let's start from I2 plus I3. Now remember that IT splitted into I2 and I3. IT total current splitted into I2 and I3, and then at this point it joined back together. So I2 plus I3 will give us IT. I2 plus I3 give us the total current, because initially total current splitted into I2 and I3. So if you add them back together, it will give you total current. So I2 plus I3 gives us total current, as we've determined before, as we've seen, or as shown. The same thing happened when we go to the other intersection, but we'll come to that later, which is 3.33 plus 3.33. I2 is 3.33, I3 is 3.33, which is 6.66 milliamps. We've gotten high total before, so it's not a big deal. High T. So yeah, it was 6.67. Here 6.66, just for approximation issues, which is still fine. The values are not too far apart. Now IT total current is also the same thing as, we can say IT total current is the same thing as, when it gets to this intersection, it divided into two, I5 and I67. Total current divided is split into two at this junction. So, and you can say that total current is now I5 plus I67, because I5 and I67 join together, combine together at another junction, the junction below, to form I total once again. So I total is equal to I5 plus I67, because I total splitted into I5 and I67. It's splitted into when it goes to that intersection or that junction, it's actually officially called a node. When it goes to that node, that intersection is called a node. When it goes to that node, it's splitted into I5 and I67. So I5 plus I67 will give us IT. So we can make I67 solve the formula. I67 will now be equal to IT minus I5. That's if you make I67 solve the formula. We already have I5, we have IT. All we need is I67. So IT is 6.6 or 6.67, whichever one we want to use. 6.6 volts or 6.67 milliamps. Sorry, 6.67 milliamps, like we derived earlier. We are using the earlier values, not these new values. Either one will work fine. The difference will just be 0.01 milliamp, or we can use this new one either way. So 6.66 milliamp. Let's use this new one. 6.66 milliamp per current minus 3.33 milliamperes. That is I5. I5 is 3.33 milliamperes. IT is 6.66 rather, and IT is IT is 6.66, I5 is 3.33. Subtract that, we have 3.33. So that's our I67. So we've gotten our I67. So we've duplicated our slide. This is a new slide. It's actually a new slide. I67. So I67 is 3.33 milliamp. We got that by subtracting total current from I5. So we have I67 now. We have the current flowing through R6 and R7. Now, since the same current flows through resistors in series, we remember that R6 and R7 are connected in series. R6 and R7 are resistors that are connected in series. Both of them are connected in series, and the same current flows through resistors that are connected in series. Since the same current flows through resistors that are in series, I6 and I7. So I6 equal to I7, because I67 is that current. I67 flows through both R6 and R7. So I6 equal to I67. I7 equal to I67. So I6 equal to 3.33 milliamperes. The same thing too with I7. I7 equal to 3.33 milliamperes. That's because I67 is 3.33 milliamperes. I67 is the same current that flows through R7. It's the same current that flows through R6. So I6 and I7 is I67, which is 3.3 milliamperes. And this is because the two resistors R6 and R7 are in series, which means that the current that flows through them is exactly the same. And that current that flows through them, which is the same, is I67, which is 3.33 milliamperes. So I6 is 3.33 milliamperes and I7 is 3.33 milliamperes. So I hope you got that. So now let's list out all the currents that we've been able to derive thus far, or been able to evaluate thus far. We've done quite a lot thus far. We have I6 and I7. We have I2 and I3. I2 and I3 is 3.33. That's from earlier calculations. If you go back, you'll see that that was I2 and I3 was 3.33 milliamperes. I4 was 6.67 milliamperes. I5 was 3.33 milliamperes. I6, which we just got now, 3.33 milliamperes. I7, which is the same current that flows through I6 and I7. I7 is 3.33 milliamperes also. So we are basically listing out all the current values that we've been able to calculate so far. 3.33 milliamperes for I7, 3.33 milliamperes for I6, 3.33 milliamperes for I5, for I2, and for I3, 3.33 milliamperes. Only I4 is differs, which is 6.67 milliamperes. So let's go for the voltages. All the voltages calculated so far. Let's start from them. V2. Start from V2. Let's go back. What's our V2? Our V2 was the same voltage as V23. We said that V2 equal to V23 because V23 is the voltage across. Okay, let me just restate it for to have it on record officially. Recall, let's just restate it. I've explained this before, but let me restate it. Recall that resistors connected in parallel, they have the same voltage. resistors, record that resistors in parallel have exactly the same voltage, and V23, we said V23 is the voltage across R2 and R3. So it means that V23 will be equal to V2 and V23 will be equal to V3. So V23 will be equal to V2 and V23 will be equal to V3, which is 3.33 volts. That's because R2 and R3 are in parallel. So V23 that appears across both of them will be the same for each individual resistor R2 and R3. So V2 is 3.33 volts, comma, V3 is also equal to 3.33 volts, comma. So let's go for V4. V4 equal to, probably need to go back a bit to see what we got for our V4. V4, yeah, V4 is 3.33 volts. 3.33 volts. So V4, and the next one is V5. So we obtained V5 earlier. Let's just check for what we got for V5. V5. Where is our V5? V5. Yeah, we said that V567 appears across V5. V567 is the voltage across V5 because it's in parallel. Now let's restate an old hypothesis, or the hypothesis that we have proven earlier about resistors connected in parallel. Due to the parallel configuration, basically the parallel resistors rule, V567 is equal to V5. So V567 is in parallel, it appears across V5, but V6 and V7 they share V567. So we cannot say that V567 is equal to V6 because V6 is in series with R6 is in series with R7. So R6 and R7 together as a whole unit is having V567. So none of them can claim V567, but R5 can claim V567 to itself because V567 appears across its entire terminal. It's the only resistor there. But V6 and V7 are sharing V567, but V5 alone is equal to V567. I hope you understand that concept, that V5 equal to V567 because it's the only resistor there in that line. There are two branches in that parallel connection. V5 is on one side, V6 and V7 are in series together on the other side. So V6 and V7 are sharing V567, but V5 is alone, it's on its own. So we can say that V5 equal to V567. So V5 is 3.33 volts. So I hope you got that concept. So V5 is 3.33 volts. What about V6? So now we don't have V6 and V7. So far we don't have quoted V6 and V7. And like I've said before, that R6 and R7 are in series. Both of them are sharing V567. So V567 is across the both of them in series. It's across the, so we cannot say that V6 equal to V567, and we can't say that V7 is equal to V567. The reason is because voltage across resistors in series are not the same. Remember that it's only the current through resistors in series that are the same. The voltages across resistors in series are not necessarily the same. They could be the same in some instances, but generally they are not the same. So we can't assume that it's the same voltage across V6 and V7 because they are in series and not in parallel. So both of them are sharing V567. So I want to use Ohm's law. All that is left for us is to use Ohm's law. So V6 equal to I6 times R6. Now we have I6. We've gotten I6 to be 0.0033 amps, and then R6, the value of the resistor R6 is 500 ohms. So if we do that, if you multiply that together, I6 times R6 from Ohm's law, I6 the current multiplied by R6 the resistance from Ohm's law, I6 multiplied by R6, 0.0033 0.00333 multiplied by 500 ohms equal to 1.667 volts. So that is V6. So we could not get V6 by saying that V567 is equal to V6, because like I said before, V6 or R6 and R7 are in series and not in parallel, so they don't necessarily have to have the same voltage, but they have the same current. So I6 times R6 give us V6. So V6 is 1.665 volts. 1.665 volts. That's V6. That's voltage across resistor R6. It's V6. So let's duplicate that and get the voltage across R7, which is V7. So I7 multiplied by R7. I7 multiplied by R7. So it's the same. The current is the same. I7 is still 3.33 milliamp, and then the resistor is also 500 ohms. So because the resistors I7, R7 and R6 are the same, we end up getting the same voltage. So but generally, having resistors in series doesn't guarantee you have the same voltage across them. So V6 is 1.667, V7 is also 1.665. V6 is 1.665, V7 is 1.665. So we are able to determine basically almost all the voltages and the currents, all the voltages and the currents. This circuit you'll be able to determine that. Remember, don't get confused by that. V567 appeared across R6 and R7 together. So none of the R6 cannot claim the whole of V567, and R7 too cannot claim the whole of V567, because both of them are in series and they are sharing that voltage. But V5 or R5 could claim the whole of V567 because it's the only resistor on the second side of that parallel connection. So now let's go. We are done with current and voltage. Let's go to power. So determining the power consumed by individual resistors. In a series parallel configuration. So if you have a circuit where you have many resistors that are connected in both series and parallel, like it's a mixture of both series and parallel, how do you get the power consumed by each individual resistors? If all the resistors were connected only in series, that's pretty easy, and if they are connected in only parallel, that's also relatively easy. But when there is a mixture of both series and parallel connection of resistors in the circuit, that can be slightly challenging, but it's not too difficult, as you will see soon. So we want to determine examine how one determines or obtains or evaluates the power consumed by individual resistors in a circuit where you have a combination of series connection of resistors and parallel connection of resistors. So we'll start from P2, because R2, for aesthetic reasons, R2 is our first resistor, not R1. We don't have R1 yet. We started from R2 and we start by R7. So R2, R3, R4, R5, R6, R7. So that means the power consumed by each resistor will be P2, P3, P4, P5, P6, P7, and P7. So let's start from P2. Before that, let's get all our current values. So P2 is I2 V2. We know that already. We've done that. We've done something similar to that. That's P2. The power consumed by a resistor R2 is P2, which is equal to I2 multiplied by V2. So P2 equals to I2 times V2. Let's drag this down a bit and bring the V2 upwards. So we are listing out all our current values and voltage values. We need all our individual current and individual voltages. The individual currents through the resistor are the individual voltages across the resistors. So let's grab them one after the other. We have V2, we have V3, we have V4. We'll need V5 and V6. So we need V5, we need V6, and we need V7. So let's go back and check. So V5 is 3.33 volts. Where do I place that? V5, okay. V6 is 1.665. Let's get that done. Let's get that in. 1.665 volts. And V7 too is also 1.665 volts. 1.665 volts. And if you had 1.665 and 1.665, if you had V6 and V7 together, you actually get V567, because V567 appears across both V6 and V7. So if you had V6 on its own and had V7 together, you will get V567. So, but that's just by the way. So V5 is 3.33. If you had 1.665 and 1.65, you will get approximately 3.33, which is V567. So let's leave that. Let's go now. P2 is I2 times V2, which is 0.333 multiplied by 3.33 volts. So we need a calculator for that. I can see some 9s here. But we multiply. Power is current times voltage. So we need individual current and individual voltages. So for you to calculate power consumed by any load in any circuit, always make sure that at least you have the current and the voltage of each of those loads. So if you don't have the current and the voltages, at least have maybe current and resistance, or voltage and resistance. Earlier, I remember in this module, we examined what other options you can use to calculate power. It's not compulsory that you have to use IV, like P equals to IV. We also said that apart from P being equal to IV, P is also equal to I square R. It's also equal to V square over R. So, but for convenience sake, usually IV seems the most convenient of the three forms, but they are all the same. So you multiply the two together, you have 0.0111 watts, capital W, 0.111 watts. That's the power consumed by resistor R2, which is P2. So 0.111 watts. That's the power consumed by resistor R2, which is P2. So we can remove that one and probably just make it 0.1109. Just increase the number of decimal points, not approximate earlier, just approximate at the later digits, significant digits after the decimal points. So that is approximately 11.09 milliwatts. So the power consumed by resistor R2, which is P2, is 11.09 milliwatts. So we've determined that we'll go for P3, we'll go for P4, P5, P6, and P7. So let's go for P3. P3 is I3 times V3. So we are going to analogously do what we did for P2. So P3 is I3 multiplied by V3. So I3 is the same as I2 basically, and V3 is also the same. So it means that the P3 will also be the same. So let's go for P4. P4 will be I4 multiplied by V4. That's the current I4 multiplied by the voltage V4. Now the current I4 is not different. It's not 0.033 like we have for the others. So I4 is slightly different. I4 is 0.00667 multiplied by V4. Now what is V4? V4 is 3.33. Okay, V4 is 3.33. So let's multiply 0.0067 or 667 multiplied by 3.33 volts, and that gives us 0.0222111 watts. 0.02221 watts. So you can convert that to milliwatts, and if we do that, that will be that should give us 22.21 milliwatts. Remember that milli is 10 raised to the power minus 3. That's basically 22.21 times 10 raised to the power minus 3 milliwatts. So that is P4. So we have P2, we have P3, we have P4. So let's go. We want to get P5 now. P5 is the next current. The next power we're trying to obtain. P5 will be I5 multiplied by V5. P5 is I5. Now I5 is 3.33 milliamperes, and then V5 is 3.33 volts. So the current will basically be the same. That's 11.09 milliwatts. Sorry, the power rather. The power P5 will be the same as we go for P2 and P3, because the values are the same. Now it's not compulsory that the values have to be the same. It's just because of the peculiarity of this example. The value just happen to be the same. But if the resistors will have different values, the powers will be different. So if I give you an assignment where the resistors have different values, most likely you will get different power consumed. Okay, let's go. P6 is I6 times V6. So I6 times V6. So I6 is 3.33 milliamperes. So the current still remains the same. We won't change it. But the voltage is different. The voltage V6 is not 3.33 as we have for the others. The voltage is slightly different. The voltage is the current is of course 3.33 milliamperes. The voltage is different. It's 1.665. So we'll change it this time around. We won't leave it as 3.33. We'll change it to 1.665. 1.665. We change to 1.665 volts. So if you multiply that, you have a 0.033 or 1. Okay, we can start from 1.665 multiply by 0.00333, which equal to 0.005544. 0.00554. Okay, because if you approximate, that'll be 555 actually. So let's convert it to milliwatts. That'll be 5.55 milliwatts. That's the power consumed, or power consumed by resistor R6, which is P6. So P6 is the power consumed by resistor R6, and P6, as we've evaluated it to be, is 5.55 milliwatts. 5.55 milliwatts. So we are done with P6. Let's switch over to P7. So P7 is I7 multiplied by V7. I7 multiplied by V7. So 0.0033. So the I7 is still 0.0033 amperes, and P7 is 1.665 volts. So if we multiply that, it will still give us the same thing as we had earlier. So P7 will be the same as P6. P7 will be the same as P6, and total power. We can now get total power now. It's easy for us to get the total power. Now that we have all our values, we can easily get total power now. We have all the individual power consumed by the individual loads or individual resistors. So total power PT is the sum of the power consumed by individual resistors or individual loads. Now, like I said before, that when it comes to power, it doesn't matter whether the resistors are connected in parallel or are connected in series. When you are calculating total power by adding individual power consumed, it doesn't matter whether they're connected in parallel or series. So regardless of the configuration, total power is basically addition of individual power consumed. So regardless of whether they are in series, the resistors or the loads, regardless of whether the loads or the resistors are in series or in parallel, when you want to calculate total power, just add the individual power consumed by each resistor or by each load. So total power is the sum of the power consumed by individual loads or resistors, regardless of whether they are connected in series or parallel. So you had P2, P3, P4, P5 and P6. If you add all of these power values, individual power values together, you will get total power PT. So it doesn't matter whether the resistors were parallel or in series. When it comes to total power consumed, you literally add them together. So let's go for PT, total power PT. So PT, total power PT is now P2. We add them together, starting from P2 to P7. So if we add P2, P3, P4, P5, P6 and P7, we will get our total power PT. And that has nothing to do with whether the resistors were connected in series or in parallel. But this only applies to total power, not total voltage and not total current. Total current has some rules that govern it. Total voltage has rules that govern it. But total power, you just add all the individual powers together. So we are adding all the powers, individual powers together. I added P1 there. P1 shouldn't be there actually, since we don't have a P1. We're starting from P2 to P7. So P1 shouldn't be there. So it's P2, P3, P4, P5 and P6. So PT let me get rid of the P1 once and for all. So there's no P1 there. For aesthetic reasons, we decided to start from P2 or from R2, which means we start from P2. So P2 is 11.09 milliwatts. P3 is also 11.09 milliwatts. P4 is 22.21 milliwatts. P4, let's copy that, 22.21 milliwatts. P5 is 11.09 milliwatts. Double click, paste. P6 is 5.55 milliwatts. P7 is also 5.55 milliwatts. So if we had all the individual power consumed, we'll get our total power consumed by the whole circuit, by all the loads in the circuit. Total power supplied by the battery to the load. So 11.09 plus 0.09 plus 22.21 plus 11.09 plus 5.55 plus 5.55 equal to 66.58. So 66.58 milliwatts is the total current, is the total power consumed by all the loads in the circuit. In other words, we can also call it the total power supplied by DC voltage source or the battery. Total power supplied by the battery to the circuit is 66.58 milliwatts. It is also the power consumed by all the loads. The total power consumed by the load is 66.58 milliwatt. It is also the total power supplied by the battery. So the total power supplied by the battery is the same thing as the power consumed by all the loads. The battery supplies the power to all the loads, the loads consume them. The total power supplied by the battery is 66.58. The total power consumed by all the loads or all the resistors is 66.58. So I can either ask you to determine total power supplied by the battery or total power consumed by all the load. Is the same thing. It's still the same PT. So we determine the total power supplied by the battery, or which is also the total power consumed by all the loads. We determined that already. So I hope you're able to understand this particular diagram with all the arrows in there. It's vital that you do. So we got total current, we got I67, how that relates to I6 and I7, and how I-T splits into I5 and I67. And so now we can also get total power. If you don't want to determine the individual power, you can get total power by just simply multiplying total current by total voltage. Remember that P equals to IV. So you can get PT, total power, by multiplying total current IT by total voltage VT. So total current is 6.66 milliamperes and total voltage is 10 volts. From if you look at the diagram, that's so if you multiply total current IT by total voltage VT, that's 0.00666. 0.00666 multiplied by 10, and that should give us 0.0666. 0666. Unfortunately, choice of numbers, watts, which is equal to 66.6 milliwatts, if I'm right. If we shift the decimal point to the right 3 times, yeah, I'm right. So 66.6 milliwatts. Now if you see here that it is very similar to what we got earlier. This is 66.58. So if you approximate 66.58, you get 66.6 milliwatts. So you can get PT, which is the total power, either way. You can either get total power by first of all getting all the individual powers consumed by the load and adding them together, or if you don't want to get all the individual power consumed and you still want to get PT, you can just use total current and total voltage. If you get total current IT and you get total voltage VT and you multiply them together, you get total power PT. So you can get the total power by either absorbing the individual power consumed by the individual resistors, or you get the total current and total voltage, multiply them together, you get total power. So either method you use will give you the same thing, approximately the same thing. Either you sum up all the individual power consumed by the loads, or you get the power by using total current and total voltage. You get approximately the same value for the power consumed by all the loads, which is the same as the total power supplied by the DC voltage source. So I hope what we've done so far, you are able to grasp the concepts and understand how power differs from voltage, and how voltage differs from current, and how the peculiarities of having resistors connected in series, and how that differs from the peculiarities of having resistors connected in parallel. So if you look at it, this circuit was a combinational one. We had resistors in series, we had resistors in parallel, and we determined the current flowing through each resistor and the voltages across each resistor. So now like I said, this concept we just examined is probably the last main big concept we will examine for this course, at least for this online lecture series. So before we round up on EEE 2232 online course, the online version, we're going to be looking at the brightness control using resistors. So I want to touch on just some little concepts, one or two little concepts before we round up on this online course series. So the main thing I want you to discuss today, I've done it, and that is what to do when you have a combination of series and parallel resistor connection. So this is, by the way, this is an addendum. So brightness control using resistors. So the more current that flows through a bulb, the brighter the bulb will be. So I want to explain how you can control the brightness of a bulb or an LED using a resistor. So if you notice that your rechargeable torch light Usually they have a varying switch, a switch that has multiple positions, such that depending on the position of the switch, the brightness of the bulb or the LED of the lamp or the torchlight changes. What happens is just that there are resistors connected to those bulbs or to the LEDs that control the brightness of the bulb. So I want to show you using live wire how you can control. If you want to make your own torchlight, for example, if you don't want the torchlight to always, or the bulb or the lamp to always be at full brightness, you want to be able to control the brightness of your bulb or LED, you can use a resistor for that, and I want to show you how that works. So the more current that flows through a bulb, the brighter the bulb will be. So if you can find a way to limit the current, if you can reduce the current that flows through a bulb, you can reduce the current. If you allow more current to flow through the bulb, it will get brighter. If you reduce the current flowing through the bulb, the bulb will get dimmer. So you can connect a resistor in series or in parallel with a bulb or an LED in order to make it brighter or dimmer. So we're going to be looking through this concept for a short while before I switch to the very last concept, or last mini concept. So we want to examine. So let's delete this whole configure, this whole circuit. We are done with anything that has to do with multiple resistors. So I just want to show. So let's go to output component. Yeah, filament lamp. So I want to control the brightness of this filament lamp using just one single resistor. So I get my battery out as usual. I get my battery out, double click, let me change the voltage to 10 volts, 10 volts battery, DC voltage source, also called battery. So I connect one end of the battery to the corresponding end, the corresponding terminal of the bulb, connect one terminal. It didn't work out that time. Let me try the other way around. Click and click, drag, click and click. So I've connected my bulb, my filament lamp or incandescent bulb. I've connected it to my battery, and I'll need a resistor because I want to control the brightness. Well, let's first simulate. Look at how bright it is. So this is probably full brightness. That's full brightness. So let's see. If I don't want my bulb to be fully bright, for some reason I want to reduce the brightness. Let me see. I need a resistor for that. It should be another passive component. Passive components. Where am I going? Yeah, passive components. So let's drag the resistor as usual. So now we can do it two ways. We can either connect a resistor in series with the filament lamp or in parallel. So let's start by series connection. So we know what series connection is. You just put it this way. You connect terminal 2 of one component to terminal 1 of the other component. That's how series works. Terminal 2 to terminal 1, and then 1 of the first component to all the way to your power supply. So this is series. So even if the orientation of this resistor had been horizontal instead of vertical, as long as we connected it terminal 2 to terminal 1, not 1 to 1. Parallel is terminal 1, 2 to 2. But series is terminal 2 of one component to terminal 1 of the other components. Not 1 to 1 and 2 to 2, but 2 to 1. So we connected terminal 2 of the resistor to terminal 1 of the bulb. So this is series connection, not parallel. This is series connection. Terminal 2 of the resistor connected to terminal 1 of the bulb. Series connection. So we simulated and now we see. In fact, we can't see anything. It's so dim that we can hardly see the bulb coming on, and we simulated it. So it means that the resistance is too high. So if you use a very high resistor in series, high resistance with series with let's simulate. It's very dim. You can hardly see the brightness. So let's go. 100 ohms is still too high. 1K was too high. 100 ohms is too high. Let's try another value. Let's try 10 ohms. 10 ohms in series with our bulb. Okay, it's coming. It comes on just a little bit. There's a little yellow in there. So it's dim, it's not very bright at 10 ohms. So now I want to introduce to one concept, one component called a variable resistor. So it's a resistor whose value can vary. See, I can vary it from 100k to 101. So the value of this resistor is like a normal resistor, but the value can change. It's flexible. So the maximum value is 100 ohms. You can 100 kilo ohms rather. Let's remove the k. This is ordinary 100 ohms. So let's make it 50 ohms. So the maximum value is 50 ohms. Now this is 50 ohm maximum value. So let me remove this static. This is a static resistor. I remove the static resistor. I replace it with a variable resistor whose resistance value can be altered, can be varied. So let's connect it. Remember, terminal 2 to 1. That shows that it's a series connection. So let's simulate. So it's very dim. Let me reduce it. Reduce, click and reduce, reduce. It's getting brighter, getting brighter, getting brighter. Reduce, reduce. Aha. Now this is 1 ohm. At 1 ohm, it's at full brightness. So the lower the resistance, the higher the current that flows through the bulb and the higher the brightness. So as I'm increasing the resistance, it's getting dimmer. As I'm reducing the resistance, it's getting dimmer. It's getting brighter. If I reduce the resistance, it gets brighter. If I increase the resistance, it gets dimmer. So you can, if you have a resistor that you can vary like this, if you connect it to your bulb, you can have almost infinite levels of brightness to your lamp or to your torchlight. So let's connect an ammeter to the circuit to measure the current. Let's see the current. Let's see actual current. Now the word resistor, from that word, a layman definition, resistor resists the flow of current. So if the resistance value is high, that means you are resisting the flow. You are resisting, you have a greater, you are resisting more of the current. So that means low current will flow, a very low value of current will flow when you have more resistance. So when the resistance is low, you're not resisting the value current much, that means more current will flow. So a low value of resistance means a high level of current. So as I'm reducing the current, look at how high the current is. When I reduce the resistance, the current is quite high. That's almost 800, or that's a high level of relatively high level of current. As I'm increasing the resistance, can you see what's happening to the ammeter? The ammeter value is dropping drastically too. So that's about 100 plus milliamps when I increase the resistor. Now the resistance value is dropping, has dropped now. I have more than 500 milliamps there. So the current and the resistor and resistance, they are inversely proportional. The higher the resistance, the lower the current, and the lower the resistance, the higher the current. So let me duplicate this and duplicate it. Let's close that guy. And so now let's go. Another way we can control the brightness of a bulb or an LED is to connect a resistor in parallel. So it's not only when you connect a resistor in series that you can control the brightness of the bulb using the resistor. You can also do it in parallel. For remember, parallel, terminal 1 to terminal 1, 1 to 1, terminal 1 of the resistor to terminal 1 of the bulb, terminal 2 of the bulb to terminal 2 of the resistor. This is parallel connection. If we are to be series, it would have been terminal 2 to terminal 1. That's series. But parallel is 1 to 1, 2 to 2. So the voltage supply, the battery is also connected in parallel with both. So let's so that this is full brightness. It's very bright. Full brightness. Even before that, we connected the resistor across the load. Basically nothing happens. So, and I could as well connect it this way. It's still parallel connection. If I did it this way, if I connected it this way and drag this guy and brought the terminal closer this way, it's still parallel connection, because there's no difference between the former position of the connection point and this one. It's still the same thing, basically. So let me return it back to the original way. This is more aesthetically pleasing to the eye than what I did just now. So let's replace this with a variable resistor. The variable resistor will replace this fixed one. Let me make the maximum value of the variable resistor 10 kilo ohms. 10k. So 10 kilo ohms is the maximum value of that the resistance of the resistor. Let me drag it here. Click, connect. I'm connecting it in parallel. The variable resistor is connected in parallel with the bulb. Simulate. Now I'm varying the resistance and nothing is happening. The resistor is the brightness of the bulb is actually not varying. And I'm increasing it, reducing, nothing is happening. Absolutely nothing. So something is I won't say something is wrong, but there's a reason for that, and we'll examine that now. Now the issue now is the problem was with the voltage source. Let's make the voltage source 2 volts instead of 10 volts. Let's try that now. It's pretty dim now. Let's vary it again. Not too much. It's just permanently dim. It means the voltage is too low. It's too low for the bulb to come on. Let's try another value. Let's try 10 volt. Oh, okay, 10 volt what we used earlier. Let's go back to 10 volt. So it's pretty bright now. No matter how you vary the voltage, it's still. Now the issue is with the okay. Let's get the ammeter, and I will explain. You see the reason why now. You see why we vary the resistance or the variable didn't affect the brightness. Let's connect an ammeter to measure the current through both the variable resistor and the filament lamp. Let's get 2 other ammeters so that we will know the individual currents. Copy and paste. Rotate. Let's rotate button here. Rotate. So we measure the current through the variable resistor on its own. Let's measure the individual current there by connecting the ammeter through. Drag it up a bit, connect, copy and paste, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. So we also measure the current through the bulb itself, the current through the bulb itself, and the current through the variable resistor. Remember that when the total current IT, when it gets to this junction, this particular junction here, it will split into 2. Part of it will go through the variable resistor, and the other part will go through the bulb. So let's simulate. Okay. Let's shift this guy backwards a bit. Shift it. Click and shift. Click and shift. Click and shift. Click and shift. Click shift the terminal. Click shift the terminal. Okay, that looks ugly. I think I'll just delete it. Delete that wire. Delete the wire. Click delete the wire. Okay, I'll create a new wire connection. Click and connect. Okay, let's simulate. So this is about 500 and 900. Now as I'm reducing the resistance here, so much current is flowing through the resistor. Wow, this is 9 amps. Now 9 amperes is flowing through this resistor, but we still have like 600 plus milliamp flowing through the bulb. Now what that means is that the reason why this resistor, even if we change the value, it won't matter. The reason why this resistor is not working when it tries is because of the battery. The battery is able to supply sufficient current regardless of how much current this resistor demands. It is supplying it. It asks for 9 amp. It supplies it. So it's probably the battery is way too powerful. It's so powerful that for when you have if you want to use now let me short circuit this. I want to show something. If I connect a cable across, now you see the battery has now this is 90 amp. That's a crazy amount of current. 90 amp is a lot of current. 90 plus amp, 99, yeah. So the bulb is off, completely off. So all the current that the battery can supply, everything is flowing through, not the resistor, but that cable. I connected a cable. Now the resistor is not. I've short circuited. I've bypassed the resistor. So a cable is connected directly across the resistor. So that resistor is pretty much useless. So this is, and a cable is supposed to be 0 ohms. So basically, I put a resistor of 0 ohms. I created a resistor of 0 ohms by just using a single cable. That wire has, so all the current basically is flowing through that cable, and there's no current that's left. We don't have any current left for the bulb to come on. So let me do the right thing. So if you want to use a resistor in parallel to control the brightness of a bulb, it means that your battery must not be too powerful. If your battery is too powerful, parallel connection will not work for brightness control. So let's use a single cell. Let's go back to a single cell. Remember single cell, we said single cell cannot supply. Now look at single cell. When the other one was supplying 90 amps, this one is supplying just 999 milliamps. So the single cell cannot supply much current. It doesn't have much current. So let's go back to this number guy now. So simulate. Low. As I'm reducing it, it's pretty low. Throughout, it's low. Not too much. So we see here that we can adjust the value of this resistor. 10k, this 10k is brighter now. It's brighter. If I reduce it, it's dimmer. If I increase it, it's brighter. Okay, I can increase it further to 100k. It's much brighter now. I reduce the resistor or the resistance. Now you see the current. The current here is reduced. As I'm reducing it, more current is flowing through this resistor. As I'm increasing, less current is flowing through resistor. As I increase it, more current. So as I increase it, less current. As I reduce the resistor, more current is flowing through. As I increase the resistor, less current is flowing through it. So if I increase the resistor's values further to, if I make it 10, sorry, let's say 10, 100 ohms. 100 ohms. If I reduce, as I'm reducing the resistance value, more current is flowing through. It's flowing through it, and the bulb is getting dimmer. It's getting dimmer. So as I'm basically, it's opposite direction. The series resistor, if you reduce the resistance, the brightness is high. But here for parallel, if I increase the resistor for the series, if I reduce it to a low value of resistance, it's very bright. And if I basically, the series resistor and the parallel resistor, they work in opposite direction. So, but basically the best one to use is just the series resistor. The series resistor works better in brightness control than the parallel. For the parallel resistor, it means that your battery must not be too powerful. But for series, it doesn't matter how powerful your battery is. If you use a series resistor, you can easily control. So I recommend using the series resistor to control brightness. The parallel one is just an addendum. So let's leave that concept for now, and let's go to the very last concept. And that's examine the concept of open circuits, voltage, and current. So if you hear the word open circuit, or you hear the concepts, or you hear the terminology short circuit or open circuit, I want you to understand what it means. So open circuit and short circuit, they have different meanings. So let's get the terminals across the battery. So we get our battery out and get a terminal here. So before I leave the whole concept of the using resistors to control brightness, I'll say that okay, I think I've said that before already, that the series one is better than the parallel one. So let's leave that. Now this is open circuit voltage. Now open circuit is when your circuit is not complete, it's not completely closed, it's open. So this is open circuit because there is no connection, there's no direct connection between the positive and negative terminal. The positive and negative terminal of the battery, they are exposed on both ends. The circuit is not a closed circuit. So let's connect. So if you connect a voltmeter across an open circuit, you get the full voltage. That's 10 volts. So when we examine the concept of open circuit, so open circuit voltage is the maximum voltage, actually is Vmax. So the maximum voltage that your voltage supply, your battery can give you, that is your open circuit voltage rather. So open circuit voltage in this case is 10 volts because the battery is a 10 volt battery. If the battery was a 100 volt battery, open circuit voltage will also be 100 volts. So the maximum voltage supplyable, I don't know if that word exists, supplyable, according to Microsoft Office, supplyable doesn't exist. Okay, the maximum voltage that can be supplied, let me use that, the maximum voltage that can be supplied by the DC voltage source or by the battery that is your open circuit voltage. So open circuit occurs when there is no direct connection between the positive and negative terminal of your battery, and if you measure the voltage at that point, it will be the maximum. So if the voltage is 50 volts, now can you see that the voltmeter is also reading 50 volts? So if your battery is 50 volts, your open circuit voltage is 50 volts. If your battery is 1000 volts, your open circuit voltage is also 1000 volts. So open circuit voltage is maximum voltage. The maximum voltage that can be supplied by the battery is your open circuit voltage. So let's go for open circuit current. So like I said, this is open circuit. Open circuit is when there's no direct connection between the positive terminal and negative terminal of your battery. So this is open circuit current. Let's try and connect the terminal. Let's try and connect the ammeter. The ammeter, let's try and connect the ammeter. Okay. Live wire is not allowing me to connect the ammeter to one terminal of the battery, to the positive terminal of the battery. I'll probably need to shift it up a bit, or shift it down, or make a loop, kind of click, drag upward, click, and it's still not allowing me to do that. Okay, probably have to make a detour. So we've determined what open circuit voltage is. We want to determine open circuit current. And see how it differs from open circuit voltage. So let's bridge that, and we've connected it. Good. So we've connected one side of the okay, let me adjust. Okay, good. So we've connected the ammeter to that's 0 amps. So when there's not a closed circuit, when there's not a complete path for current to flow, then you have open circuit current, and open circuit current is 0. Open circuit current is 0 amps. It's always 0 amps, because when there is no direct connection between the positive and the negative terminal of a battery, then current cannot flow, because current flows from positive terminal of a battery to the negative terminal of the same battery or of another battery in a peculiar case. So when you have an open circuit, there is no direct connection between positive and negative terminal. When you have an open circuit, it means current cannot flow through that circuit, because there's no direct connection between the positive and negative terminal of that battery. So open circuit current is always 0 amperes. Thus, no current flows through an open circuit. So when you have an open circuit, no current flows through it, but you can get the voltage. When you have an open circuit, you can measure the voltage of the open circuit, and the voltage of an open circuit is the maximum voltage that can be supplied by the voltage source. But you cannot measure current, because there is no current. The current through an open circuit is 0, but the voltage across an open circuit is the maximum voltage supplyable by the battery. So I hope that concept has been understood. So let's go to short circuit. So examine the concept of short circuit voltage and current. So this is can you see the difference between open circuit and short circuit? Short circuit, I connected the positive to the negative. It's a complete circuit. It's a direct connection. That's short circuit. So let's try and get short circuit voltage. Simulate. This is almost 0 volts. Simulate again. That is 100 micro. Micro is times 10 to the minus 6. That is 0.00. That's a lot of zero. So it's approximately 0. So open short circuit voltage is approximately 0. It's very, very small. It's very minute. It's like 0.000, like 4 zeros and 1. So at least for this particular example, so it's approximately 0 volts. So short circuit voltage is approximately. So when you've already connected a path, let's say when there's a path or a cable that connects the positive terminal to the negative terminal of the battery, that is short circuit. So if that's a short circuit already, and you want to try to measure voltage across that short circuit, it's approximately 0 volts. So this is a short circuit. So let's go for short circuit current. Now to measure the short circuit current, we are going to actually technically open it up, insert the ammeter there, then complete the short circuit. Now the reason why, now you might wonder that why didn't we do this for the open circuit? Now the way an ammeter is configured internally, it allows current to flow directly through it. If you had done this for the open circuit, we would have converted our open circuit to a short circuit actually. So ammeters allow current to flow directly through, but voltmeter doesn't really allow much current to flow through it per se. So the reason why we could not use ammeter the way, but let's see that this is 90.01 amps, 90 or 99 amps rather. 99 amps is that's a lot of current. So that's the maximum current that can be supplied by this battery is 99 amps. So short circuit current is the maximum current that can be supplied by the power source, by the voltage source, or by the battery. So when you have short circuit current, it is the maximum current that the battery can supply, or a power source can supply. So short circuit current is the maximum current that can be supplied by a power source, by a voltage source, that can be supplied by the power source. So I hope you understand the difference between short circuit and open circuit in terms of current and in terms of voltage. So I'm rounding up now officially for this video lecture series. Once again, if I wanted to connect the voltage across to measure the open circuit, the short circuit voltage, let me just repeat it. So I've connected it down. Let me now see the difference. Short circuit voltage almost zero, open circuit voltage maximum. Short circuit open circuit current 0, short circuit voltage maximum. I hope you can see the difference between open circuit and short circuit. So this is both now. This is me doing both tests at the same time. Open circuit voltage and current tests at the same time for both circuits. So I hope you understand the concept now. So we've come to the end of EEE 2232 online course series. I hope you enjoyed the 4 modules so far. I implore you to go through all the assignments and try and get them solved, and then hopefully we'll resume soon and get back to the lab to run actual physical experiments and analogous to all the ones we've done in LiveWire. So thank you for staying tuned with me and paying attention throughout this lecture series. Thank you.